There we go. Looks like the recording has started, so we should be good. Okay, so my name is Chris Kreider. I am the judging coordinator for Future City competition. And today we're doing a little bit of training for the model judging. So we have a number of judges with us here today that have volunteered to do the judging. And we do thank you for that, for volunteering your time to do that. We've got about an hour slotted for this. I hope to run under by about 10, 15 or 20 minutes. So we have plenty of time for questions at the end. With that, I'll go ahead and get started. So this just gives you, kind of an idea. Brian White, I don't think he's on right now, but he, he is going to be the judge coordinator. So you may see some correspondence from him, or you may see it from me. So I'm helping out with all of the judging efforts with the different deliverables. Brian is helping out specifically with the model judging. And then Patty is over all of the logistics, and I believe she is on the call or on this meeting. So just to give you a brief overview, some of you have been doing this for a while. Some may be new. This is the first year. We did not participate last year because of COVID, but things have changed this year. So there's a lot of things that are different. And so I will go through some of those things. But to give you a broad overview, this is a very large program. There are over 40 regions in the United States. Over 45,000 middle school students participate a year. And when I say middle school, we're talking about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. So keep that in mind as you're looking at their model and answering the questions that you're scoring their model on. That these are developed by 6th, 7th, and 8th graders with help from their teacher and an engineering mentor. So we try to pair an practicing engineering mentor with each of the teams so that they have the benefit of an engineer to help them through this whole process. This year's overall theme is called A Waste-Free Future. And so all of the topics here are all the deliverables. So the essay, the model, the project plan, the presentation, and then the virtual Q&A with the judges, they all have the theme around a waste-free future. So you'll probably see that in the model and in the presentation of the models that you judge. North Carolina is just one of many regions. This current competition is to select a winner for the North Carolina region. And we'll do that in January, late January, 22nd, 23rd. And after that, the North Carolina winner will go on to the nationals and compete against all of the winners of all of the other regions in the United States. And I believe there are some regions even outside the United States this year that will be competing. Judging is an important part of this. We like to have judges to be able to help us with all of these deliverables. And that's what we're here about today, is to talk about the judging of the model and go through the rubrics and provide some judging training and other information for you that will be helpful once the assignment comes through for you to be able to score the models. Just again, an overview of the competition. There are 5 deliverables, each has a score. The city essays have already been turned in, are currently being scored. The city model is their second deliverable. It is due December 22nd, so there have not been any assignments made yet until after that date. When the city models come in, we will begin assigning them on the 23rd. So really, other than brushing up and looking through some of this preliminary information before you get your assignments, the assignments won't come in until the 23rd. I'll go through the schedule at the end. There's also a city presentation where they record a video and upload it about their city. And then there is a virtual Q&A with a series with a panel of engineering judges. So there'll actually be a Teams meeting just like this with each of the teams and engineering judges, and there'll be a 10-minute question and answer period with the teams and the judges. little more about this year's theme. This year's theme is designing a waste-free city. So it's kind of imagining 100 years in the future that generates no waste or pollution, trying to reuse, recycle, and everything that you can to be able to provide the longest life and take all of these items out of the waste stream. That's a lot to think about when you're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but that's what these teams are being asked to do, is to put their minds together for all these deliverables and focus on how do we create a city that is waste-free. Also, part of the challenge is to design a waste-free city that uses the principles of circular economy. Now, I had to look this up on Wikipedia, and you can too, and there's some good information about it, but just a general idea is that you're designing to take the waste and pollution out of the stream. So you make something, you want to reuse it, recycle it, repurpose it, and you want to have it live as long as you can and never really go to waste. You want to keep materials in use. You want to regenerate natural systems. And I'll contrast that with a linear economy, or a linear method, which is you build something, you use it, and then you throw it away. And so, there's a big difference, and that's what you'll see themes of this throughout their presentation and their model as well, because this is part of what they're being asked to do, is to design the city of their future and to explain how they've done it using a circular economy. We estimate there'll be about 33 models. We only have one submitted so far because the deadline's not until the 22nd, but we did get one in yesterday. We have 26 model judges, and our goal is to have each model judged twice. So you will probably be getting assigned 2 to 3 models each to judge. Probably 3 is a good number, and so I would expect to do 3. The first one you do might take you, 45 minutes to go through it, maybe a little longer. But after you've done the first one, the second and third one will be a little bit quicker and easier. About their deliverable, so this is what the teams are going to be delivering. They have 2 options for their model, and these are physical models. So they're going to build a model out of recycled products, out of things they can find, out of, stuff that might be going in the trash can that looks cool. They'll just cobble it together, and they'll build either option 1, which is to build a single model of the entire city, or they're going to use option 2, which is to build little pieces of their city that are kind of standalone. They don't have to fit together. They can just build an industrial section of their city, and then they can show like a parks and rec section of their city and use option 2. Once they've built their model, and these are physical models that they built, they are then going to create a slideshow. And it's going to be a PowerPoint slideshow, and there is a template for it. So, all of the submittals that you're going to judge should look very similar. And I'll go through an example of the template later, but they're going to populate this with pictures of their model and answers to questions on the other side that are asked about their model. There's scoring for it. So there are 11 questions in scoring. So each of the model, after you had a chance to review their presentation, you'll go back and answer 5 questions. I think someone's trying to get in. Hang on. There we go. After we've assigned, I jumped ahead too far. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yep, so these are the scoring points. So there's 11 questions. Each question is worth up to 5 points. So there'll be 55 points applied for the model. I do have a quick video I want to show. This is put on by National, and it's a future city video model that is meant for the students to show them what to do or how to do it, but I think it would be good to share it with you. Let's see, it is right. Right here real quick. Now there, you can see it. And where's play? Try this again.
Are they saying something, Chris? We can't hear it if they're talking.
Yeah, hey Patty, thanks for pointing out. Yeah, the video was playing, but for some reason the audio was not coming through.
If you want to put that link in the chat, yeah, maybe they can go watch it.
Yeah, let me find that link and put it in the chat real quick.
And I think if you were to unshare your screen, when you go to share your screen, I think there's an option that says you have to check it sometimes. It says add sound or something like that. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to share my screen.
Oh, that's okay. Is that you or me? I think that's me.
Yeah.
So I think, let me see if I can share back and get that.
Oh, there's a little slide bar in the side that says include computer sound.
Okay, there. I got that. I got that. And let's see if this works now.
Or multiple model segments that represent parts.
Yes, I can hear it now.
Good.
Instead of having judges review and score models in person, this season, teams will submit a slideshow in PDF form that shows off various elements of their model or model segments. Each team submits one slideshow, and they can use pictures from any of the team members' model segments. There is a preset template to follow as your team assembles their slideshow document, which includes pictures, written captions, and one video link that will demonstrate your moving part. The format for this year is designed to meet the needs of teams, whether they're able to meet in person or if they are fully virtual and working remotely. Teams are free to make one single model or multiple model segments. Keep in mind that model segments do not necessarily need to fit together to form a larger model. Also, there are no limits on the number of segments a team can create. Neither are there size restrictions or requirements on the models for this year. However, this does not mean that a larger model will get a higher score. After completing your model or model segments, your team will take pictures of your work and write short captions for the slideshow. You must follow the city model slideshow template, a detailed outline that will tell you what parts of your city to photograph and include. You can find the template in the resources section of futurecity.org with the filter search, competition forms, and project plan. Make sure your whole team reviews the slideshow template before you start working on your model. This way, you'll have a clear roadmap of what you need to accomplish. Be sure to follow all the instructions included in the template itself, such as not deleting or adding slides and following the rules on font size. The template includes a section for one moving part, which is required of each team. You do not need a different moving part on each model segment, just one moving part per team. Each team will record a video no longer than 60 seconds, demonstrating their moving part in action and describing the role it plays in their city. They should also briefly describe how the team designed and built the moving part. Teams can use any video platform that is publicly available, such as YouTube, to post the video. Then a link to the video will be included in the slideshow. Each model segment must be consistent in its use of scale. However, different segments, even among the same team, may use different scales. If you have one single model, one single scale should be used. If you have 3 model segments, each can have a different scale. There is a $100 combined expense limit per team on materials used in the city presentations, city models, city Q&As, and special awards. Be sure to save your receipts and document everything in the competition expense forms, which are available in the resources section. We have a number of resources to help your team as they brainstorm, design, then build their model. The Living on the Moon Questions to Consider student handout is divided into different city-related topics to help students start thinking about the realities, challenges, and possibilities of a lunar city. The Build Your City Model student handout provides students questions to consider as they begin creating their models, as well as tips for the model slideshow. The City Model slideshow template outlines exactly what teams are expected to submit, and the example slideshow is an illustration to help them visualize what the work will look like when it's finished. Model building activities will help your team get comfortable with various elements of model construction, including concepts like scale. You can view past year's models in the gallery section of the website. And finally, you can see the full rubric used by judges to score the city models in the resources page, as well as in the program handbook. All of these resources and more are available in the resources section of the Future City website. The city model deliverable is worth a possible 65 points. In addition to reviewing the slideshow template before your team starts working on the model, also be sure to carefully review the rubric.
Different. So let me get back to my PowerPoint. Actually, let me just run through the template real quick. It is a PowerPoint. It's this one right here. So this is the template that the teams are going to be using. And all they're going to be doing is inserting pictures and then typing text, but deleting all the purple and keeping all the text before submitting. I'll show you as we go through. Where's the man? Play this real quick. This is not. Look at it. Well, it's on my other screen now for some reason. Okay. So this is a second screen on their template. You will see this in every presentation or model that you evaluate. This is just here for the teams as information. There's no scoring in this, and they shouldn't be changing or deleting any of this. Same with this. But this is where they go into city design, segment 1. And this is where they're going to add two pictures of their city. And no text on this slide. But now on the other slides under city design, they are asked to include two pictures of their city, and to give examples of a mixed use zone. And then answer the question over here about what is important for the judges to know, that's you guys, about the residential zone of their city. These also correlate with the questions or the rubric questions that you'll be scoring them on in the future. So these slides go directly to the questions that you'll be scoring them. So you'll be able to come back when you read the question that you're supposed to score them on, come back to this presentation and review this slide. Same with the commercial zone. Same with the industrial zone. And then an example of 2 photographs. They can do 1 or 2 of all these photos. So there's 19 slides that include photos. So they may have 19 photographs or up to 38. So they can have 1 or 2 photographs in each of these slides. More infrastructure. How are these related to the realities and the challenges of a waste-free city? And they'll be typing in their answers here within this box. City service example. City service example 2. Transportation example 1. Transportation example 2. Principles of a circular economy. Example 2. Example 3. And then in section 2, they'll have some slides about building it, about quality, scale, and materials. Maybe innovative use of materials. Choose a recycled or reused item and describe how you used it in your model. Innovative materials in use, example 2. 3. And an example of scale. So they'll need to include a photograph and then demonstrate to you what the scale they're using, what is the size of the structure in the model, what the size would be in real life, to demonstrate that they understand how scales work. There is a moving part requirement. Now this is actually a video, and the video can be up to 1 minute long. So there will be a link to that video and you can watch that video, and then there's a question about that video, about the moving part, that you'll answer at the end. Section 3 is the judge assessment. This is kind of the overall, the big picture. There's only 2 questions here. The first is the futuristic technology example, 1 or 2 pictures. What is important for the judges to know about the example of this technology, or this example of technology? And so you'll get a lot of creative answers in here. And then futuristic technology example 2, again, photographs of what they think is futuristic technology within their city, and a description of what's important for you to know about that technology. So that's just a blank template. I've got one that was submitted yesterday. We'll look at it briefly at the end, but I wanted to show you kind of an example of what you'll be looking at when you're doing the evaluation of the model and the scoring. Back to the PowerPoint. Hopefully this will go full screen. For some reason, it's not wanting to go full screen. There we go. Okay. So the rubric, or the questions. Each of the questions, and there's 11 of them, these scoring criteria kind of stays the same. You know, if they didn't answer the question at all, they get 0. If they do a poor job, they're only meeting about 20% of the requirement. That's a 1. 50% is a 2. 85 is good. 95 is very good. And if it's really excellent and they've addressed all of the requirements, even added distinctive features or add-ons to it, then you score them a 5. So that will be the scoring. What I would say is, if you're doing more than 1, you could probably be doing 2 or 3. What I found is it's good to score 1, score the other, score the third one, then kind of go back and maybe look at the first 2 and see if you were judging them the same way. Because as you score multiple ones, you sometimes will think different things about how you scored that. So it would be good. What we're looking for is sort of a relative score between the schools that you're judging, to make sure that, you know, you're being consistent with the scores. We're also having them judged twice, or at least twice, and that will help us, you know, average the scores out, or see if there are a big discrepancy between 2 judges that we can dig into and try to see why there's such a big spread between 2 different scores. But in the past, most of the scores are pretty close together. The good models get good scores, and the poor models get poor scores. These are the questions. I won't go through them in too much detail because I think I sent them out in the email for this presentation. They're also in the handbook, and there are also links in the CMS to be able to look at these while you're scoring it. I'll show you that here at the end. Let's see, I think someone's trying to join. No, okay. But just look at the first one as example. City zoning. Does the model include 3 primary zones: residential, commercial, and industrial? So they need to show you in their zoning slides. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. You know, there's residential, industrial, and in those slides, in the zoning slides, have they shown evidence that they're zoning? Is it a little bit vague, unclear? Maybe there's a little bit of structure, not quite sure if there's zones. Maybe they've shown 1 zone, but not all 3 or 4, or 3, at least 3. A little more clear, fairly clear, all variety of structures, at least 3 zones are present. Clear zones, some variety of structure, could be more comprehensive. Clear and thorough zones, excellent variety of recognizable structures, and at least 3 zones. So you'll look through the slides that are applicable to the city zoning, and you'll make a determination of the score that you would assign for that question. That just continues on down. You got questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the city design is 25 points, so there's 5 questions, 5 points max. So in the city design, you've got those questions. In the build it section about building, you've got 4 questions. I'll just pick on the scale one here, model scale, accurate demonstration of scale. So there's a slide in there where they have to show you the scale, explain how they did it, answer the questions about, you know, if this was a real life building, how big would it be? And so, you know, you evaluate those slides, and then you come here to the rubric, and then you determine a score for this question number 8 about the model scale. The last 2 questions are the overall about the futuristic examples. You know, how have the application of futuristic advanced technologies, did they include futuristic technologies, and what is the importance to the city of that technology? And so they'll have a slide, and then they'll have a description of it. And so you'll look at the slide, read their description, and then evaluate these 2 questions for 5 points each. I now have an example of a slideshow that was submitted. This is the one that came in yesterday. I'll just kind of give you a brief look through, just so that you'll have an idea of what you'll be looking at when you get your assignment. So here it is. You know, you recognize the template, but instead of the purple words telling you to put your school and your teacher's name and your future city name here, they've actually filled that out. This second slide is just like it was in the template. There's no changes to this one or this one. And then this is their model. So, you know, there's no words in this first slide. It's just a picture of their model. So this is the model that they built. And then you've got the zones. They got 2 pictures here. They got a picture of 2 different zones, and they probably describe in here which photograph is which zone. And then they give you a description of features. Or actually, there's two pictures of the residential zone, and they give you descriptions of what you'd find in the residential zone. Similarly with the commercial zone, you'll have photographs or pictures of the commercial zone, and then a description about the commercial zones in their city. Follows along with industrial. I'm not sure what all that is, but industrial zones, and then a description of their industrial zones of their city. Photographs of infrastructure 1, infrastructure 2, city services, obviously looks like a hospital, hospitals to ensure safety. So you'll go through these presentations of their model, and you can have the template right out next to it, of the rubric right out next to it. So as you're going through, you can kind of be looking back and forth to be able to sort of get a gauge for how to score these different questions as you're going through the presentation. City
Chris,
service.
did you mention how, I guess, because if you're scoring a bunch, do you usually score them and go back and adjust them before you actually put them in there? You know, because once you see a couple, then you might have realized you scored the first one too harsh or something.
Yeah, so that's pretty common. You know, you'll score the first one, you might score it really hard, and then you score the second one, and you're like, gosh, you know, I think I scored that first one harder than the second one. So you go back and so you want to try to be consistent between the different cities that you score. And so if you're evaluating 3 cities, I would encourage you to evaluate each one as you go, but then kind of take a step back and look at all 3 of them, kind of compare them, look at them again, and see if it looks like they're ranking against each other that is relative. So that the better model gets a higher score than the lower model. So yeah, you can adjust them, you know, until you put them in CMS and you save it. Once it's saved in CMS, then you can't change it anymore. Only we can change it. at the regional level. So that can still be done if you put your scores and you save one, and you just that night you just like, man, I should have scored those guys higher. Just let us know, and we can go in and adjust the score for you. Transportation example 1. Transportation example 2. So it looks like they've done a pretty good job in this presentation of following the template, right? They're putting the 2 pictures, they're filling out the descriptions, and it's flowing through. Biofuels, principle of circular economy, example 2. Principles of circular economy, example 3. Build it, scale, and materials, quality, scale, and materials. Innovative material. Another innovative material, clear glass marbles. Innovative material 3. Looks like they're using recycled denim for insulation. Example of scale. 1 inch, 6 feet. And then the moving part. It does not show up on this slide, but it will show up when you go into the CMS. It should show up. It did for this one in the CMS for you to be able to click on the link and watch the video. Judge assessment of the model. So these are the last 2 questions, kind of the overall use of future technology. And that's it. That's the last slide. So that's what you would expect to see in their presentation when you're evaluating the model. And I think I've got one more slide here. Just to kind of, well, after this, I want to go into CMS and kind of show you a little bit, but the model judging timeline. So today's training, the models are due on the 22nd. So all the teams have to upload their models by the 22nd. And so we will start assigning them on the 23rd. I hope to get them all out on that day. And then January 7th is when the scores are due. So you've got about 2 weeks to evaluate them and upload your scores into the CMS. So we'd like to have those by the 7th so that we can make any adjustments that we need. The actual event day, if you look over here on the left, so we've got all of these deliverables, due dates or deadlines, timetables, and then the actual virtual preliminary competition is January 15th. That's going to be the live, well, it's virtual, but it'll be a Q&A with the judges. And then from the preliminary round on the 15th, I think it'll maybe be on the 16th, we're going to announce the top 5 teams. And then the top 5 teams actually come to Raleigh, and that will be live. So we will do that at NC State University. I think is it Stewart Theater we're going to do that in. And we're going to have the teams up there on the stage and the finalist judges to do that evaluation of the finals in person. And then our regional winner will go to Washington, D.C. and compete against all of the other regions in the country on February 12th. So just kind of an idea of how this whole Future City works. With that, I've come to the end of my PowerPoint presentation, so I'll close that down. That one too. Let's see, what was I going to show? I was going to show the CMS. So what you'll do when you go to the Future City website, if you just Google it and you log in, you go to the login, it'll take you right to your dashboard. So it'll say, hello, your name, and it'll say volunteer from North Carolina. Now, you won't see all of these drop downs on the left because most of these are administrative. But what you will see is you'll see one for scoring. And in the scoring, it will have all of the deliverables that are assigned to you. So I can see everything. So right now, this is everything. So that's why you see all of these are essays. All the essays have been already assigned in the CMS. If you're an essay judge, don't freak out. I haven't sent you the email yet that they're uploaded. I will later this afternoon. But they're in there, they're in CMS. And you can see at the bottom, we do have one city model. So there is a city model in there. And I went ahead and just for the purposes of this demonstration, I assigned it to Anna, who is on the call, so that I could show you what she will see or what you will see when you go to that city. I can see that none of the essays have been scored yet. That's not surprising because I have not told these judges yet that the CMS is up and working, but it is, and they will get emails today. So you'll go to the CMS, you'll go to scoring, you'll see your three models here, and then you'll go to where it's scored. Hey, I think some people have figured it out already. I see Matt Payne. I know you're on. Hey, Matt.
Hey, it's good.
So Matt's ahead of the game. He's already got his scored, his essay scored. But I'll go click on the scoring for Anna. So when Anna goes and clicks on this school, the 6th grade AIG, which is the team name, this is the one city model that we just looked at the example of, because it's the only model we have in so far. She will see this, and this is what you'll see when you go to score it. You'll see the rubric. So if you don't have it handy, you can click on that and bring up the rubric for the scoring. You'll see the template in case you want to compare it. If it looks like they've done something wonky and you want to see, did they follow the template or not? Did they have too many slides or not? You can pull that up. And then here's a link to the moving part video. The status is not scored. So what she'll do is, as she's going through evaluating the model and reading the questions, once she's decided on her score, she'll enter it here. So you'll pick one, and you got to do this for each question. So you'll go through and you'll click on each of these. And when you get to the end, you hit save. Now, make sure that the scores that you want are in here before you hit save. And you don't have to save it right away. You can enter them and come back later and save it. So if you want to compare against the others. Now, what I normally do is I do them on paper. I'm kind of old school. I do them on paper. I compare them. I make sure everything's right. And then once I'm good with it, then I go in and enter all my scores and save them right away. But you can do it either way. It'll tell you the total. So if you want to cross-check that against what you have, make sure you've entered them correctly, and then hit save. And once you hit save, that assignment is done, and it will now show up, as you see the ones here do, as scored. So that means they're done. And so once you score all three of yours, the city model evaluation or judging part of your volunteer is complete. So I guess with that, I will go back to, I guess, the presentation, just the top of it, but I'll open it up for questions at this point if anybody has any questions about judging the model.
Chris, are the models also assigned to a couple judges to just for average or similar to the essays, or is it just a single judge per city?
Yeah, it'll be at least 2, and in some cases 3. It just depends, because we don't have them yet, so we don't know how many we're going to get, but at a minimum, there'll be 2. Each model will be judged twice so that we can look at them and see if the scores match up pretty good, then we're good. But if we see a big discrepancy in the 2 scores, then we might look at it, or we might, contact one of the judges or both of the judges and say, hey, we can actually look at the individual questions and say there might just be 2 or 3 questions where there was a big discrepancy. So, yeah, but they should be judged multiple times to sort of provide an average. I don't see that Brian got on, but Brian White is also the model judge coordinator. So I guess look for emails around the 22nd or 23rd, probably on the 23rd from me or him. We will be assigning these models to you, and then you'll have about 2 weeks. And by all means, if you should have my email address now. If you have any questions during that period of time, if you're judging it and you know something's really nagging you, like you're not sure how to score something, or if you want to bounce something off of one of us judges, just or coordinators, just please let me know. Shoot me an email and let me know.
Chris, can the teams turn in anything after the 22nd? Do they, like the essays they could with a late penalty? Is that,
In this case, no, because we're getting
Yeah.
pretty tight on schedule. I mean, you know, the 22nd is already into Christmas. And then by the next week, we're into the first week of January. The competition is the 15th of January. So we're really pushing to have all of the scoring of all of the deliverables ahead of time done by the I think it's the 12th. In this case, the model is the 7th. So just so that you know, if it's the 7th and you haven't completed it yet, don't completely freak out, because you know the drop dead is the 12th. I shouldn't probably tell you that, but if I see the 8th and the judging's not done, I'll probably ping you just to check in, because that we need a couple of days in case we have to reroute some of the models to some other folks to do the judging. And if you for some reason you can't get to it, that's okay. We understand that, you know, it's the holidays, people are busy. If something comes up, just reach out and let us know, because I have the ability to go in and rearrange and reassign your models to other folks. You know, with the judging of, you know, 3 per person, we can easily accommodate that if, you know, if someone can't do it. But if you know that, let us know so that we can get it done ahead of the 7th and not wait till then.
and Chris, we mentioned in the essays, and I'm pretty sure it's this way too. If somebody has family members, your spouse, or, you know, other people in your organization, your company that want to review some of this too, I mean, you know, with you and take a look at it and offer you suggestions, I think it's okay to show it to other people.
Yeah,
Right.
if you've got other colleagues or, you know, friends, you know, that you trust and that you want to share this with, by all means, share it with them, ask their opinion, you know, compare the two. If you think you got 2 really good ones and you're trying to decide who should get a 5, or if they should both get 5s, or maybe one's a 5 and one's a 4. Yeah, no problem with that. Okay, let me go check one more time. See, I think I've got folks on here. Where is it?
And I know a lot of people that are judging the city essay might also be judging the city video and maybe even being preliminary judges. So just
Yeah.
keep in mind too that those will be coming soon on the heels of these. So, you know, the quicker you can knock these out, the better, that it'll free up space for the other judging.
Yeah, so Patty, this is what I can see in the CMS. So I can see all of the judges. This is all of the judges that have volunteered. And then the current assignments, that's just a total number, but you can see here the city essay. Because there's not a number here, the volunteer did not, this volunteer is only judging this essay and the model and the city presentation, right? So, for example, Anna, I think she volunteered to score the model and the presentation, but not the essay. So yes, you can see in here, it differentiates who is scoring what. And so there's some folks have volunteered to score all 3, you know, that score the model or score the essay, score the model, and score the presentation.
So if they score the presentation, does that mean they're also QA judges too, or is that in a separate place?
That's a separate group. So,
Okay.
so what we're planning to do for the city, so that is going to be the Q&A judges. And because the Q&A is a live judging, and it's not, well, it's virtual, but it's going to take place on the 15th through a Teams meeting with a series of engineering judges. It was not, there's a different place to enter that in. So the CMS right now only has the deliverables that are turned in ahead of time. They have not turned on the event day. So I can't even see the event day stuff yet in the CMS. More information than all of you need, but yeah. So if you have volunteered or are going to volunteer for a Q&A judge, it's not in the CMS yet. So don't worry. That's why there's no column over here for it.
And Chris, I take it that we'll know which teams like that these people have already judged if they did the city model and presentation. When they do the city presentations, we're going to try to match them up with the same city model that they saw.
Yes, so you can go in here and see, I've got it, who's assigned, like for the essay, who's
Mhm.
assigned which city. So if the
Okay.
same judge is doing all three, we can assign that same judge, that same school throughout the whole process.
Okay.
We don't necessarily have to, but we can.
Yeah, because I think that would be good because really for the live Q&A, you're going to want to see the video and the presentation, the model presentation as part of that. So I think
In
keeping
fact,
them.
I think we're going to make the video, because they have to turn the video in ahead of time. We're going to make the video available to the judges prior to the meeting,
That's correct. Prior
And-
to the Q&A session.
prior to the Q&A session. And I think we may even play it for the whole group to kick off the meeting. And then once the city presentation is done, then the 10-minute Q&A will start.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any last questions, I guess, from the folks out there? If not, I thank you guys for volunteering, and I'll let you know when the assignments are in the CMS. It'll probably be on the 23rd. And if you got any questions, please reach out.
And I'll just say that I just sent out an email about t-shirts. And so, because we're not meeting in person per se, we usually give away like coffee mugs or some other like Future City swag. We're not really doing that this year. So we're offering everybody a free t-shirt. So if you I think everybody should have got a link. If not, just let me know. I can make sure to give it to you to go and register for your free t-shirt. And then you can also purchase more for your family and friends if you want. If you like the shirt.
I'm trying to pull it up to show everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get it.
My son did the logo, so I'm proud of that.
Yeah, so this went out to all volunteers, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there should be a link that kind of takes you to a Google Drive to put in your information and so that we'd prefer for you to come pick it up at the event, but if we need to mail it, we can. I mean, that would just save us some shipping charges, but
There you go.
and then I think if you do the next page, it's a list of sizes. It might start with youth, but make sure you go to the adult.
Locked. Okay.
Yeah. So just know that the first tab is youth sizes. So make sure that you go to the adult sizes on the third sheet, third page of it.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you, Patty.
I think, so Chris, it looks like you've got enough volunteers for this city model. I mean, right now, I think we're probably in need of some Q&A judges, and also we'll be doing specialty awards. So we're probably still on the hunt for some specialty award judges. So if you know coworkers or family or friends that's interested, we're still taking volunteers right now. And be sure to go and register online because that's how we're kind of keeping up with people.
How do we remember what we registered for? Because I don't remember.
Okay. I think Chris can tell you right now, maybe.
Speaking, I missed that.
Chelsea Parkinson.
Chelsea, okay. Actually, let me go to roster. Actually, I
Yeah,
can
if
see
you pull down the tab button and roster, and probably go under judging.
City model, city presentation, maybe something else. Oh, wrong person.
Yeah, it's
It's weird it didn't
Yeah,
on
I
your
can,
roll that didn't list them.
where is I? No, I was just there.
But do you know what you want? Do you want to do all three, Chelsea? Or
I mean, in the past, I've always just done the specialty judging for the best use of energy, but I could do more if we need to do more.
okay.
I've got you for the city model and city presentation.
Okay.
And there's another place I can look.
And then you could still be specialty and not do the Q&A if that's
Specialties
what you want.
really need help, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we might be sending out something to follow up on some of that. We're still working on a lot of the logistics.
So because the CMS was late to the game, we had to sort of keep our own stuff up front. So yeah, I think Chelsea, I think I do see you as a model and video, a specialty for energy.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right, well, I guess we're running up to the end of our hour. Thanks again for everybody. This was recorded. I'll save it and make it available to you all and to those who weren't able to make it with us today.
And I'll just add one more thing that the live competition on January 22nd will be at the Stewart Theater at NC State in the Talley Center. And it'll be the top 5 teams. But if you're doing all this judging, I think we're going to open it up for volunteers to just come and watch if you want to come watch. So we'll be sending out an invite as we get closer, but just wanted to let you know that so you could plan ahead if you needed to.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Patty.
Thanks.
Let's see. I think I could stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll end when I end it. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Have a good day.
And Chris, you might want to capture the attendance report just for your record of who.
Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, I think if you go under the People's tab, then there's usually in the 3 little buttons to the side, you can download an attendance report. Yeah. Okay.
All
Good
right,
job.
cool. Thank you.
Thanks.